So today it's my pleasure to introduce our feature speaker, Jordan Kimmel. Thank you.
Well, Scott, let me say thank you to you and Hollis, and you guys set the bar pretty high. With Charles joining us, and I see a nice large group here. So let's get on with it. And what I'll do is I'll have just a brief introduction about myself. I'll introduce really what Magnet is all about. Importantly, I'll share some current ideas and how those ideas come to the front. And most importantly, then we'll leave time for questions and answers because I know what I think, I know what I know. What these four minutes always give me is an opportunity to hear what's on people's mind and answer the questions. So, what we talked about is, we're going to share. It's not enough trading on moving averages. So many people have gotten lazy with charts. They listen to television, they buy things, they don't really know what they're buying. And so I always stress the importance of kind of doing your homework. And as you see, when I outline really what Magnet is all about, it's a tremendous amount of work that gets in. It's not for a part timer. I've done this professionally for 30 years. I've been investing for a lot longer than that. But we'll talk about how you find the companies with the greatest upside, how to build and manage a portfolio risk adjusted, and then, just as importantly, I want to talk about something called the value trap, which people fall into. And I'll even add, maybe we'll even discuss not falling into a momentum trap either, just as importantly. So, as Scott mentioned, Value Engine itself is a research house, sells data. If anyone's been around long enough, there's the old value line. Well, Value Engine is a further advancement along that, much more quantitative, and with a very hard value slant. I am a portfolio manager, and what I want to really do here is get into the meat of the subject. So, most importantly, there's no offer to sell anything here. There's no offer, no recommendations to buy or sell securities. Everyone has their own risk parameters. We're not going to be bragging about performance here. And what I want to really mention here first is I'm proud to have a very long history with AAII. And the only thing I will be selling tonight for anyone who's not a member is AAII itself. I think it's one of the great services, one of the great values. One of the things I always enjoy is every month when the gurus come out, their picks come out with Wayne Thorpe, who's been good enough for many years to identify 60 different strategies that are all quantitative that can be followed. And for many years, this goes back. This is dated 2012. At that time, it's showing a 10-year track record of AAII following me, a track record since inception. I'm not even sure what that date is, but I was proud to be on this list for many years and leading the list several years. Unfortunately, I was with an RIA that asked me to come off the list because although AAII can guess what I'm buying, they don't know what I'm buying. One of the fun things I always enjoyed, frankly, was going in to see what they actually thought I was buying on any given month. It's just a great service, and you get to see different strategies. This was an updated one from 2017, and AAII was actually following three models of mine. The Magnet Simple, the Magnet Complex. I did a revised one. And what I love about this is the two strategies that were ahead of mine, again, like the other people on this list, on the gurus list, are some of the most prominent, knowledgeable, and great thinkers in the entire industry. In fact, I spoke at the Dry House Institute, I guess it's called, up in the AAII Chicago branch years ago. And William O'Neill, and we'll see later in the slides, has been a prominent influence and a colleague. On your site, on AAII, by the way, are two articles that I've written. There's several more articles, questionnaire, that I participated in. But these two articles, how much diversification is right for you, and revising the magnet screens, is a primer, what we'll call a real great summary of the books that I've written, and it really is helpful to read through those articles. But I'm very happy to be on your website so prominently and so well involved with AAII. For anyone who's trying to take a deeper dive, these are the two larger books I've written. Very well endorsed. I don't make any money off these guys. They're a long time. There's no royalties, but I would really encourage you. The Green Book was the first one, and it's a great primer on investing. And then we get into a little bit deeper of diversification in the Magnet method of investing. So let's get into really what Magnet is all about. And, if you were to watch CNBC or Fox or any of the other networks, as they have portfolio managers or strategists come on, what you find still is this unique thing where some of them are value, some of them are growth, some of them are momentum. And many years ago, and I'll get into it with the next slide, I had this background, very quantitative, and I said, why can't we try to incorporate all value, growth, and momentum, combine fundamentals and technicals, see who ranks the highest on all of those different ways of thinking? And if you will, we understand there's not going to be that many securities that fall into an ability to rank out high on all these. And that's just fine for me. I don't need to have an overwhelmingly large portfolio. The companies that make it through all of my screens find a way possibly into my portfolio. So when we talk about the Magnet stock selections and its origins, it's an acronym I just want to share with you. MAGNET is something I came up with years ago, where I looked at what are the major factors that go into my stock selection, and then I show you the primary influences and maybe the current influences. And I hope these names are familiar to most of you in terms of the influences. Warren Buffett with a focus on management, Phil Fisher, Ken Fisher's dad, who wrote the great book Super Stocks, was probably the only one on this list I didn't get to meet. Actually, Gerald Loeb was a little bit before my time as well. But what happened was I went to a really fine school that identified a bell curve early on. And I said, why would you buy the whole market if you could mathematically solve for the tips of the bell curve, the outliers, the most and the least?